If you're a fan of rotary joystick arcade games like Ikari Warriors, Midnight Resistance, Frontline, and more, I put together what I like to call the Super Ikari Warriors arcade stick. And how did I put this thing together? Well, I had to use the GRS Super Joystick, this limited edition SNK Ikari Warriors joystick that Glen sent me from GRS for the purpose of review. Doing this mod was a ton of fun, and it was actually pretty easy, and I'll kind of show you the highlights here in this video how we made this possible. Now, you've probably seen a lot of reviews for this product already on YouTube. There have been a lot of great content creators who've done it. One of the neatest things about this Ikari Warriors Super Joystick set is you get a very thick, high-performing cardboard box here with perforated edges that you can punch these things out, and you could actually turn this box into a joystick. But I don't want a box as my joystick. I don't want an arcade stick made out of cardboard myself personally, even though it's high quality that Glen sent over. So I reached out to the guys over at the Buy Stuff store, Buy Stuff Arcades, and I had them print together these Ikari Warriors control panels artwork. And by the way, I'm going to be giving away one of these. All you have to do is leave a comment on this video with the word #Ikari somewhere in your comment, and you'll be entered into the drawing. Now, to make this mod happen, I took an AtGames Legends Gamer Mini, and I completely gutted it. As you can see here, took everything out of that control panel, and we're going to use this as the base for our new Ikari Warriors Super Joystick Super Arcade panel, using the Buy Stuff artwork. If you guys are interested in doing a similar mod, I did pay Buy Stuff Arcades for the artwork. They do retail for $40. I'll have a link for this in the video description below. And of course, guys, this is that high quality textured vinyl artwork that doesn't rub off. You don't need a plastic deck protector. It goes on nice and smooth, etc. And it looks absolutely stunning when you're done. Take a look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Better than I thought it would be. Now, getting back to this. So taking a look here, this is going to be your holy Bible. You don't want to lose this. This is everything you need to know about installing the GRS Super Joystick. Whether you're going to put it in that cardboard box, or you're pretty much going to follow the same directions and stick it in this control panel. And then, of course, in the future, if you wanted, you could take this traveling control panel and hook this up to a PC or a Raspberry Pi and game the way you want to game. Now, when it comes to inside the box, this is where I wish Glen did have an option for people to purchase maybe an assembled version, because some people might find this a little bit challenging. However, if you just go slowly and go through the steps, you're going to find that everything is completely feasible for you to do this yourself. You do get pretty decent parts from Glen, as always. I mean, you got some bail-in buttons, but when it comes to the actual joystick, the actual rotary joystick, which has a Hall effect in there, as well as a push-pull spinner built into the top of it, metal joysticks. I'm talking really, really good quality here. Glen never disappoints, and the people over at THUNDERSTICK Studios. Out of the box, it does have the 12-way rotary dial on it. He does give you options to do 16-way, 8-way, where you could change the yellow heads. You get your little light up button here, which we'll show you later in the video what that does. Here's the actual joystick hub, or the actual body of the joystick that's inside your control panel. Pretty damn good quality from TSTICKS from THUNDERSTICK Studios. And then, of course, inside the box, you can also have these like 4-way switchers, gate switchers, depending on your own DIY projects, because you don't actually have to just use their cardboard box. You can stick this in an arcade machine. What's really nice is Glen's joystick, as you can see here, it does line up perfectly with the holes that are pre-drilled in the AtGames Legends Gamer Mini. However, I do have to mount it horizontally instead of vertically like you do if you're putting it in the cardboard box. So I'm going to have to remap the controls later, which I'll show you how I did it. For me personally, the most difficult part about this entire project was feeding the silver joystick and this cable through there, getting it pushed all the way through, and then getting it locked into place. That was the most difficult thing. I even popped that little wire out once when I did it, but you do get a hex wrench, hex bolts, where you can disassemble the top of this joystick. So if you accidentally pull that wire out, don't worry. I did it myself, and guess what? I was able to plug the wire back in and get it all set up. But here's a quick sneak peek of what the control panel looks like with all the buttons and the joystick put in. Now it's time to do a bunch of wiring. Now, that gigantic Bible of instructions that Glen provided, as well as links to some YouTube videos I'll have in the video description below, are what I used. All you have to do is go slowly, step by step. You'll be able to get all your buttons wired up, your joystick wired up. Because Glen knows that people are going to use these in their own DIY projects, the length on these wires is pretty long. I tried to clean this up as much as I could without having to do any kind of wire trimming. And as you can see here, yeah, I got balls of extra wire inside of the control panel. A little sloppy, but the bottom of the control panel is going to cover all of it. No worries. Now here's that extra little prop back panel that the AtGames Legends Gamer Mini had on the control panel that you saw. I took a Dremel to this, that way, as well as a piece of sandpaper to smooth away the rough edges. That way I could simply fit the USB cable that goes from the joystick into your PC or Raspberry Pi through that hole. As you can see, the USB-C side of the cable goes into the actual joystick, and then the USB-A side goes into your PC, Raspberry Pi, whatever you're going to use to play games on. So by using the Dremel, I was able to widen the hole, and now I never have to take this thing apart in order to connect this to other devices, as well as to plug this into my PC, do firmware updates, button mapping, things like that. Once I completely installed the buttons, the joystick, did all the wiring, have the wires sticking out the back, and now I'm just kind of cleaning this off, dusting it off, taking a look at it. Man, I think this looks really cool. Here's my USB cable coming out of there. Man, in my opinion, I think this looks great. This is so much better, in my opinion, than just a cardboard box. Plus, I have room for additional button expansions next to that mode and way button, the white button at the top, where I could trim and add 2 more buttons for start and select, depending on future projects. The perk about using Glen's cardboard box for this, as you can see, is it's a lot smaller. You can probably sit it on your lap when you're like in a chair or on a couch playing games on your TV or on your gaming monitor. So it is nice to have it in a smaller form factor, but the Legends Gamer Mini is pretty small in its own right. And this is something I could prop on my desk and use, as you saw in the beginning of the video and as what we're going to show you here shortly. But in my opinion, this looks way better than the cardboard box. Now keep in mind this joystick is plug and play with the Steam SNK collection that's on Steam, which I'll demonstrate for you here in a minute. But if you're doing DIY projects, you're going to want to make sure you're on the latest firmware, as well as you're going to want to make sure you have the latest configuration tool. I noticed right here I don't have the latest tool. Glen just released a new tool today, link in the video description below. You'll know you're on the latest configuration tool if on the top right you see 2 options, 2 green buttons, one that says controller tester and one that says save configuration. If you don't see the controller tester option, that means you're on the old configuration tool. You do need to download the new one. Either way, make sure also you're on the latest firmware. If your joystick out of the box says it's on firmware 2.24, that's the wrong firmware. You got to download and click on install firmware, select the new firmware as you saw, hit OK, and boom, it runs and it updates, and it takes less than 60 seconds. Now I can actually go into this particular tool and I can adjust the up, down, left, right. Remember, I put my joystick in, and when I put my joystick in, I had to mount it in a different position than what it's designed for out of the box. You don't have to do this if you're doing the box install, but you might have to do this depending on your arcade machine. All you have to do is rotate it by 90-degree intervals and go, okay, is up, up? Nope, I just hit up, it went down. Okay, I gotta try it again. Let's go 180. I'm gonna try and hit up again. And nope, up is moving to the right. All right, so I need to do a 270-degree rotation here. Now let me do the controller tester. I'm gonna push up on my joystick and boom. Now I have my joystick in the right place for my project. After you do this, make sure you click on the save configuration. That way it saves it and you can put it in whatever arcade machine or control panel you're working on. Okay, boom, now I'm ready to play some games. One piece of critical feedback, I did speak to Glen about this. What's really cool is this particular, the mode and the way button, depending on what you're using, Raspberry Pi, PC, you have it set to either the purple mode, the green mode, the blue mode. It's all in the instruction booklet. But whatever mode you're in, it blinks. And it blinks rapidly too, depending on which way you have the joystick set up. Either way, Glen said there's going to be a firmware update soon in the future where we'll be able to select how you want to play it and then what mode you want to be in and stop the light from blinking because the light's kind of annoying when it blinks. Also, with the latest firmware you did, this will work pretty much plug and play with the SNK 40th edition, 40th collection that's available on Steam. There's a whole bunch of games to play, including the Ikari Warriors series, which we'll check out here for you. Really digging the gameplay and how everything works with this joystick. Nice and clicky as well. Totally fun and a super great experience. Since this is more of a showcase video, if you guys want me to make any kind of video showing how to set this up on MAME or RetroPie, definitely leave me those comments in the video description below, and I'll try and make those videos in the near future. Let's check out some quick gameplay for $80. I highly recommend you pick up the SNK Super Joystick, Ikari Warriors joystick from Glen Planamento. Either use it out of the box, with the box, or make a DIY mod and have some fun.
No! Oh, I walked right into that.
Come on, let's fight!
Come on!